Don't be about. Don't talk about it.
Be about it. Exactly.
Hey, this is perfect now that we're recording.
Oh, cool.
Because I noticed you chose not to respond to my text message earlier today.
Yep.
Why me? Why would I have to go get them if you're also already outside of the house?
Well, because I was already almost home, and I had a bunch of crap to do here when I got back.
Sure.
But it's okay, man. No worries. No worries. It's all
I can
good.
see it in your eyes. But it's okay.
Yep.
It's okay.
Yep. I don't know, man. There's just I've been trying to. I may sound crazy saying this, but I've been trying to focus less energy on my phone and more energy on other things in life that bring me a lot more joy and happiness.
So responding to my
responding to text messages
to my
sometimes,
text
man.
Definitely would not have brought you joy and happiness.
Because
that is fair.
Yeah, because well, I mean, what do you want me to say? You know, I mean, what's the correct text? What do I say to you? Like, I'm almost.
Chad, wow.
First of all, I was driving.
That's true.
And I didn't want to text you.
It's very dangerous.
I was at a stop sign when I texted you the first time. I was still kind of like, trying to get it sent in time. Why is it
fair.
Why is it not a point with cars? You're a car guy. Why is it not a point now with cars where you can just hit a button, or maybe you can, and I don't know about it. Can you? You just hit a button? Well, I'm driving a 97 Crown Vic, so that's probably
you can do
the problem.
with like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and stuff like that. The thing is, my phone is in German, and I think I can change just my Siri to English, but I can't say American places in there because it expects a German accent.
Right.
So I can't say like I tried to say Kroger and it was like Krogan.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all.
You oh shit! I forgot about my speakers. Yeah, and so I've seen Sydney use the I like it where I think she's in the car and it'll say like sent from Siri,
right?
And that'll be
That's
what
funny.
happened. But like I can't do it.
Yeah, Kroger. Yeah, that won't work. Or turn, links up. What would it be like? Fahren Sie geradeaus und an der Edwardstraße bitte biegen Sie links ab.
But I wonder if it could figure out Costco, because that's pretty easy.
Right.
That's probably the same in English.
Well, I think the issue is with, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think the issue with the Siri in multiple languages, I don't think they've figured it out yet. If they can figure it out so it can just detect all languages and accurately do that,
right,
then it would work. But I think the issue is that
it doesn't know how to place the accent on it.
Exactly.
It just does whatever generic accent it's been given.
And so if it's German, they're expecting German words.
Sure.
And so things like Meyer doesn't. Well, Meyer is actually a German name, but
I don't think it works.
It doesn't.
I don't think it works.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't.
But it's also they wouldn't spell Meyer like that though, would they? MEIJER.
Probably not.
It would just be MEIJER.
To me, that looks almost more Dutch. MEIJER. But I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. But
all right.
Yeah. But my whole point about the text messaging thing, man, is that I've just realized that I was, especially since I've been home, I've been spending too much time on my phone.
Me too.
Just too much. Like I've been looking at my screen time, and it's unreal.
Yeah.
It's unreal. Like it'll say like 5-6 hours. And I think about it.
Mine came up today and it was 5 hours and 47 minutes.
Mine was
That's 6% less than last week.
Mine was 26% less than last week, and this week I came in at 5 hours and 16 minutes.
Damn.
I'm trying to get it down to like 3 hours. But the other thing is I listen to music constantly on my phone.
Yeah.
So I wonder how much of that
That doesn't take much because you're not constantly looking for songs.
I usually put a playlist, and once I have my playlist, I'm good to go.
Then I don't think that counts.
It doesn't.
Because I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I can't.
Right.
That's definitely not what's showing up at the high. It's Instagram and Twitter and bullshit.
But
like
I've
that.
looked online and I've seen some discrepancies on. Some people say that at least for screen time for Apple for iPhones, they say it's not 100% accurate. I'm not sure about the metrics and how, but before I bought my new MacBook, I was looking at, all sorts of stuff on YouTube about it. And I went down the Apple rabbit hole on YouTube. And that's what some people were saying was like the screen time isn't always 100% accurate on your iPhones, depending on, what apps. They said depending on what apps you have running in the background. I'm not sure if that's true. Okay. Also, I mean, think about how many times, if you look at your phone, the screen will light up. Does that count?
But how often are you doing that,
More often than you would think, though, Jared.
Probably.
Way more often than you would think. The amount of times you check your phone for the time, the amount of time, you know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying. But whether it's correct or not, I can't speak to that. Mm-hmm. But I think there is a level of accuracy of it up to the point where you could see, like, all right, if it says 5 this week and 3 next week, I'm definitely looking at my screen less.
Right. That's my plan. Exactly.
It's like I don't know how. It's like a one of those pedometers. Mm-hmm, yeah. To, like, track your footsteps. Mm-hmm. Like, those aren't really that accurate. Right. But it's like, yeah, but if it's 5 versus 10,000, like that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, I would say so. So that's the point. And my whole point. And I hope you weren't offended by it, man, because
No.
But yeah, I just figure
because there's, as you said, there's
not much to say.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes
like, I'm not gonna get it. He's not gonna get it. We're not gonna get it.
Right. Exactly. And the thing is that I was talking to another good buddy of mine about this a few days ago, and we are just so attached to our phones all the time, and think about back in the day when we were kids, right? We had a landline. That was it.
Yeah, dude.
So you were doing you all the time, right? Or spending time with your friends or your family or something. Mm-hmm. Whereas now I feel like we've talked about this on the podcast before as well. Just the endless scrolling, man.
Yeah.
And what does it really enrich your life that much? Does it really bring that much happiness? I think it's a way to kill time, but I don't think it's productive.
No.
And I guess my mentality has shifted a bit, Jared, since this quarantine.
I've noticed, by the way.
Yeah. Just because I have more time because I'm not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I'm not driving places. So in the States, even if I go anywhere, it's going to be at least a 10, 15-minute drive. Mm-hmm. And it adds up a lot, right? So there's a lot more time, So how do you want to spend it? And do I want to look back 5 years from now and look back and think, man, I really wish I wasn't staring at my phone all day long.
Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. I feel that way every time I look at my phone, especially now since we are home all the time, and
right.
I am looking at my phone even more. Like, it's like, oh man, I'm scrolling through things, especially on Twitter, that I've seen before. Like, I've already seen this tweet.
That's how I know when to stop.
I've seen everything, and I'm seeing and I was like, okay, now I'm just going back to stuff I've already scrolled through. I was like, this is bad, but I have been trying my hardest to find stuff to do. I'm still reading that book. I mean, it's 500 pages, so I'm page 250, 60.
You're making progress,
now.
Though. You're making
I've slowed
progress.
down a little bit recently, but I have been getting back into it within the past weekend. I did a pretty good chunk. I pulled my bike out and I just rode around the neighborhood.
Oh, sweet!
I am out of shape.
Yep,
because I go for walks.
Me too.
But biking is especially on just flat road. It's just consistent pedaling.
Yeah.
And after 20 minutes, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I'm terribly out of shape. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I used to be able to do this for hours, and now I'm 20 minutes in. Okay, let's head back home.
But keep it up though, man.
Oh, I definitely am.
I'm on week 2 now of lifting. Mm-hmm. The first week,
right.
First week, dude, was brutal.
Oh, yeah,
brutal. And I wasn't even lifting heavy, dude. I hate to admit this. If we had any Gym Bro followers right now, they would probably troll the shit out of me online. But I will tell you straight up, Jared.
Speak your truth.
The first week of workouts, I was lifting with my dad, and that's right. I'm being honest here, people. You shouldn't cancel people for well, I guess unless they're speaking some crazy honesty that anyways, getting off track here, Jared. Whole point of this was first week was brutal, and we were only doing for most lifts just the bar. Mm-hmm. And the bar, a standard weightlifting bar is 45 pounds, about 22.5 kilos. To put it in perspective, that's not that heavy.
Yeah,
okay,
no, for sure.
Especially for squats.
Yeah.
I did 4 sets of 10. Dude, my legs were sore for 4 days. 4 days.
Yeah.
And not just hurt a little bit. I groaned like an old man getting off of the couch.
Well, I told you I went for a run through a park last weekend, and I was like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. This must have been at least a mile, and it was 0.58.
right.
And I'm like, oh no, okay, I've barely crossed over a half a mile. It's sad, I would say, for both of us.
right. Yeah, but we're trying to make improvements. I will say this though, the funny thing is when I first started lifting years ago, I weighed 150 pounds. It blows my mind. Do I need to turn this one off?
I don't know. It's just so I like.
Is it too much?
It's like we're look at it. Looks like we're doing a sleepover.
We are, aren't we? I thought that was.
I mean, it's fine with me. It doesn't matter.
All right.
No, maybe you should turn yours off.
All right.
I think if they're both off, that would be better.
It's gonna be
then
dark.
It would, but then I think it would lighten everything.
Oh, yep.
There we go. That
that's
is much better.
Okay. Anyway, so when I first started lifting in college, Jared, one, I wish I would have started in high school. Mm-hmm. First thing, should have started in high school. So if we have any young listeners, I'm gonna look right in the camera and tell you, start lifting. Doesn't matter if it's heavy. Doesn't matter if people laugh at you in the gym. The whole point is, right now I don't think I would be recommending going to any gyms. But at some point when gyms do reopen,
unless
I'm sure
you're in
they will.
Florida, they don't care.
They don't care. That's true. Or if you're in Europe or Asia where things are a bit more under control as well. But anyway, so I was 150 pounds, Jared, when I started lifting, right? Mm-hmm. And the less you weigh, you can't move as much weight. It's just like a give and take thing, right? If I weigh 200 pounds and I have to pull 400 pounds off the ground, that's going to be, I have more body momentum and muscle mass to do that than if I weighed 100 pounds.
Sure.
So my whole point here is I'm 175 pounds now. So I got 25 pounds more. And I have the old muscle memory from, 3 or 4 years of lifting. And I'm hoping, this is week 2, not as sore.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It changes quick. Because that happened to me when I first started doing Insanity too. Like the first 2 or 3 of them, I'm like, oh, this is should be illegal.
right.
Yeah. And then by the 4th or 5th one, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not amazing at it, is not what I'm saying, but it's like, okay, no, I'm coming into my own a little bit. It's just your body is very elastic, especially if you keep in relatively good shape, I would say. But at least mine is, I should say. I can't say everyone's.
Right.
But yeah, it does take that initial hump to get back into it. Now, let me ask you this: how's your diet?
It needs to be better. It's getting better.
Yeah.
The weird thing is when I think for most people, if they start being more active, they tend to watch what they eat a little bit better. That's just my theory. Because that's where I noticed in college.
Because you feel like you're wasting. You're like,
right.
oh, what's the point of doing all this working out if I'm just negating it immediately?
Because trust me, when I was running some errands this morning, I drove by a lot of fast food places, and I was really hungry this morning, Jared, but not going to do it. Occasionally, sure. Once in a while, okay. But, the thing is, I think I get enough protein. It's more veggies. More fruits and more veggies in my diet.
Same. It's actually been harder for me to get consistent veggies now,
and they're expensive in the States. It's not cheap.
And it's also because I'm trying to also balance having vegetables and then also not going to the grocery store all the time. I'm trying to limit my grocery store going to, because now I go in person, by the way. I don't go to that. And actually, we could talk about this. Speaking of cancel culture, I essentially don't go to my other grocery store anymore.
You got to tell me why you can't.
Because the owner got on I think 1 or 2 people about having a Black Lives Matter pin on their apron.
Yeah, not a good look.
And me and my partner were talking about it, and it's like, we don't have to go here. We only do it because it's nice when there's a pandemic and they have curbside.
All right. Can you just repeat that sentence, please?
It's nice when there's a pandemic.
Oh, man. Who would have ever thought? We would be sitting here in 2020 and that would be a sentence.
Yeah. It's like these are the positives of this pandemic.
Right. But I feel you, man.
Curbside, but it's like this happened later into the pandemic, so stuff was already starting to sort of at least at the time we thought it was chilling out a little bit, and we're like, we don't need to go to this grocery store. We just do it kind of out of convenience.
Yeah.
And it's like, if we don't like what the owner's doing, then how about that's all you can do is just prove it with your dollar.
Yeah.
And so we're just like, oh, let's just not go anymore, and so we don't go there. And
how does it feel going back? Because not to sound weird, but I haven't been to a grocery store in months.
Okay. Oh, you still do curbside, right?
Yeah, we do curbside. Yeah.
The place I go to is a local place, so it's not a big place, but they have a person limit, and so sometimes the first couple times.
Is everybody masked up as well?
For sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
You have to mask up. And they don't even let you bring your like. There used to be really big into like people bringing their own
bring
bags.
your own bags.
They don't let you do that anymore. Granted, they only give paper, so that's nice. But yeah, but the first couple times I went, it was a little nerve wracking just being around people. Mm-hmm. But like you don't like it, you get kind of used to it after a while.
But I think what a lot of people are experiencing now is they're getting a little tired of the pandemic, and they're getting a little. I'm not saying you. I'm saying people at the grocery store, right?
I do see some noses sticking out, and I'm like, really? Come on,
right?
This is the simplest part,
and that's really why, Jared, I feel fine doing the podcast here with you at home, because I feel like you take necessary precautions. You know what I mean?
The only place I go is to the grocery store.
Right. Exactly. And for the time being, I'm not going really much anywhere unless it's curbside.
Right.
And I don't know, man. It's weird though. I guess staying home and isolated from so many people for so long gives you a different view on things as well, and a different perspective. Even like going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels kind of like you're going into battle.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's really weird. I mean, I remember in Beijing, when this all started, I was holed up, in my girlfriend's apartment. We were there for, I think, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I went out and got like groceries occasionally, and that was it. And we didn't leave.
Yeah.
Didn't go anywhere. We're really, really careful. And so it's, I really feel for my fellow Americans when I understand why they're tired and they're getting desensitized to a lot of this, but we're not done yet. We are not done yet. We got to keep going.
I drove by restaurants today with people in them, and I'm like, come on.
Yep.
And once again, I don't understand why people are just this desperate for breakfast food.
Exactly. And stay tuned for next episode. We're going to talk about restaurants in the state of delivery.
You can make breakfast food anywhere. Why are you so desperate for breakfast food?
And here's my thing about breakfast food, Jared. A lot of the times when I would get breakfast food was when I was younger and we had been out the night before.
Yeah.
So you go get breakfast food,
it's
or you get brunch.
usually like a hangover cure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now I'm at home
it's so easy.
Right.
You could make pancakes. You could make eggs.
Right. In your pajamas.
I know. I don't get it.
Yep. Listening to
so
music
cheaper.
you want. Yeah. It's just so much better on so many levels.
Yeah. I just don't understand why people.
Right.
And so I saw people not only getting takeout, but sitting in the restaurant. And I'm like, really?
Dang. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I think at some point, when the numbers get low enough, I don't think that's as risky.
Yeah.
But right now in the U.S., I think people need to realize this is a big deal.
Yeah.
It really is. And I saw people when I was driving around running a couple of errands this morning, I saw people sitting outside. Mm-hmm. But even just the crowds of people sitting outside, I'm like, do you all live together?
Right.
Are you...
My neighbor, nice guy, but he always has friends over. He had I don't know, 6 or 7... maybe more than that. People sitting on his front porch last night.
Uh-oh.
And we Pat missed out on his 4th of July party. He's like, come on over if you want later. And I'm like, all right, we'll see. And like you could just hear it was like a party.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, this seems. I don't know.
Bad idea.
I don't know. First of all, I don't even know these people. It's like at the very least, if I'm going to be hanging out with people, like I at least want to know them. Is that outside? Is it raining?
Yeah, it's raining. Yeah,
wow.
I was wondering what that was. At first, I thought it was downstairs, but it's raining.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We never even talked about the fact that we're inside.
Oh,
again,
yeah.
sadly.
We never really properly started. True. We just kind of. I figure at this point we might as well keep going.
Speaking of which, though, speaking of staying home and assessing the risk.
Yep.
I'm no longer going on the road again. What was that? A week ago, where I told you I was going
to Louisiana.
Yeah, that seems like a bad idea.
Right. Well, but who knows, man? I think in August, it's still going to be probably. The issue is with the lag, right?
Yeah.
If this virus didn't have a lag, we could easily get it. Probably more under control. Mm-hmm. But those couple weeks lag really, I mean, just think about if you are a social person, and a lot of people are very social. I would say we're both social under fairly normal circumstances. Okay, fine. I'm social under fairly normal circumstances.
Have you ever met
speak
me?
for yourself. You are social when you get to know people.
Drag me out whenever we were anywhere. You're like, yeah, no, but yeah.
if it's with people you like,
sure,
you will
of
go
course,
out. That's what I mean. Is you're social in that regard.
That's very true. That's very true.
Anyways, the whole point of this is you don't know how many people you can come into contact with in a week span. And if you aren't sick for a week, but you have, you're asymptomatic and you're, going to parties and seeing your friends and stuff, and then a week later you're like, oh man, I really don't feel good. And then it's like, oh crap. And then you have to text or contact everybody that you came into contact with.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
And I have very old grandparents. And my dad actually just got tested the other day. Not because he has any symptoms or anything, just because he essentially takes care of my grandparents at this point.
Right.
And he's just like, let me just make sure.
Exactly.
Because I go over there, he has to go over there like almost every day or at least every other day or something like that. And he's like, let me just make sure. Just so,
right?
Because I've been going over there so much, and he still goes to the grocery store, obviously, and stuff like that.
Right.
So, and he messed up too. He's no fool, but still.
Right. The other thing is trying to get a test in certain places can be pretty difficult. Some other places it can be really easy. I think the crazy thing though is
he's lucky though. He has not lucky, but he has money, and I think if you have money,
decent health insurance too, right?
Yeah, if you have money and good health insurance, it's pretty easy, I would say.
Right.
But that's a big if in America these days.
Yes, it is. The other thing is too, though, is look at our athletes and these people. They can get tests like that. And once again, I think it's the money. And it's the
Formula One. They test everyone multiple times throughout the weekend.
Right.
And it's like a huge cruise of people there.
Exactly. And the whole reason why I wanted to bring that up was that's why if I think if testing was a bit more available for the everyday person, I think it would also be a little bit safer to see some of your friends. Like, I would love nothing more than, like, I played tennis with my buddy Shane a week ago, and it was great. But once again, we kept our distance. We drove separate cars. All that stuff. But not all my friends play tennis, you know? So, and I think if I would feel terrible if...
We could play some soccer.
We could.
Because we're just kicking it back and forth.
We could, but I have friends in Lansing that are in a couple WhatsApp groups that were messaging me. And they were like, hey, man, come play soccer. And I text them. I'm like, look, I don't live there anymore. I'm not going to drive an hour to play soccer. But like, and they were sending me some pictures like, come on. Like, and I was like, first of all, I don't know half of these people.
Exactly.
I don't know where they work, what they do, all that stuff.
That's the biggest risk to me. Is like that's the same with the party. It's like, I don't know any of these people. I don't know how they live their lives.
Exactly.
It's like, I barely know you and you're my neighbor.
Right.
I'm talking about my neighbor, not you.
Right.
Obviously, I know you. But yeah, it's like, it's just an unnecessary risk. But yeah, I wouldn't play soccer, but I would play like pass with two people.
Yeah, just kick a ball around.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, Jared, mind if I do a shout out real quick?
Sure, Chad. Why not?
All right. This is a really kind of warm and fuzzy story. Give you some warm and tinglies, Jared. So I don't know if you've heard about this, but there is a very important World War II veteran named Captain Tom who has been knighted by Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, I saw that.
Do you know why he was knighted, Jared?
No, I just saw Lewis Hamilton shout him out and say, "Well deserved, mate."
Yes,
like
that. And it was very well deserved. So he has been bestowed knighthood, as they would say.
What does that even mean?
It means you have the title of a knight, which I don't really know anything other than that. I mean,
it's just like a highest, like one title, of the highest. Yeah. It's like winning like some sort of award,
right,
in America,
or maybe getting
almost.
like a key to a city. Maybe something kind of like that.
Key to England.
Right, exactly. I don't know if the Queen would give us that. We're trying though.
Although I do get nervous seeing her with that sword.
Right. But yeah. So, anyways, Captain Tom is a 100-year-old World War II veteran, and his goal was to raise 100 pounds for his 100th birthday to donate to the National Health Service in London. And what he was doing to raise these funds, Jared, was he was doing 100 laps in his garden with his, as they say in England, with his walking frame, as we would say in the States, with his walker, which is like what helps assist people to walk, for those of you who English isn't your first language listening in. So anyways, instead of raising 100 pounds, do you know how much he raised?
125,000 pounds.
He raised 33 million pounds, which is the equivalent to 40 million US dollars.
What?
40 million US dollars for health workers in England during these difficult times. So I think this is amazing.
How is it even possible?
It got popular on social media.
It just
people
went viral. People kept.
He looks like such a nice. I mean, dude, he looks like you're right. Yeah, a World War II vet from
I've seen him.
Yeah.
I saw pictures.
Right. So, anyways, shout out to you, Captain Tom Moore. for raising all this money, for being an amazing man. I mean, to live to be 100 is no feat in itself.
Yeah.
Let alone a World War II veteran. Let alone still. Whew, it is really raining out here, people.
Yeah.
Hope we don't lose power. I probably just jinxed us there, Jared. But
that won't stop us, though.
That's true. That's true.
Although I should probably. Well, we're fine.
Yeah. And anyway, so shout out to Captain Tom Moore for raising all this money. Super awesome, and he seems like an amazing guy. So
You betcha.
there we go.
Yeah.
Well, Jared, I think you know what time it is.
I do. Wow, it's
Ooh,
like
that's some thunder right there. That's all right, people. Come rain, come shine, come sleet, come snow, come thunder. We are here to keep bringing you untranslatables, which are idioms, proverbs, sometimes even individual words that cannot be translated on a just simple one-to-one, word-for-word basis into English. And I think Jared's going to get started today.
I am. My first one is Hebrew, and it's lekol sratim, to eat movies.
Ooh, to eat movies. I think this could be a couple different things.
Okay.
I think number one, it could be just someone who eats too much, has a voracious appetite.
No, it's not that
okay.
literal.
Okay, so it's not literal. Can you give me
To eat movies. So everyone knows that person, or maybe has that person in their friend group that loves to eat movies. It's not about movies, too.
Okay.
I mean, the movie
Is it
will
someone
help
who
you
seeks-
understand the untranslatable.
Is it someone who seeks attention?
Kinda? Yes.
Okay.
But yes, I'll give that to you.
Okay. What is it?
Someone who loves drama or is over dramatic.
Okay. Oh, drama queen, basically. Drama queen. Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right, this is a good one. This is Peruvian Spanish. Don't be peeping my untranslatables,
I'm
Jared.
not. I'm specifically looking at you.
Right, that's right. Eye contact, Jared. Okay. It is, and I'll say it in Spanish, and I'll let
Okay.
you translate for us. I don't want to
thank
steal your
you.
thunder. Ese es un saco largo.
SAS un saque largo. Is that what you said?
Un saco largo.
Saco largo. I definitely don't know what that means. SAS. It is.
They are
They are
long jackets.
They are long jackets. Did you know that esacallargos was jacket?
No, so saco is jacket, probably like Zacco in German.
Oh, and
and largo is
long.
long.
Okay, it's a long. They are a long jacket.
They are a long jacket.
They are a long jacket. So the first thing that comes to my mind, and this is probably not what it is, but like they're like thick as thieves, like a tight crew. We're a long jacket.
Not quite, but you could say that the leader of that group perhaps is a long jacket.
He's like a tough guy, or like a
Not quite, no.
authoritative.
You're getting warmer. Okay,
Like,
if you're authoritative or authoritarian, what do you do to people?
You punish them.
Yes, you do. Okay, but
That's
why?
terrible
But,
that that's the
why?
first-
But why do you punish them?
Because you lead them. You're a leader. You're a strong leader. You punish them because you're a.
Okay, what do leaders seek? I'm looking for one
Justice.
word here, Jared. No, does an authoritarian
Power.
You're getting close.
They seek.
Okay, if you
they seek like a.
if
like
you have
subordinates.
power, yes, okay. And what do you do to your subordinates?
You put up. Oh, jeez. Did you?
Yeah, I heard.
Did that come through?
I think so. Yeah, a little
Oh
static.
no!
We gonna die here today,
Is that
Jared?
possible?
I don't know.
We can, so I don't know if that'll come through, but we can like hear like when
The
it lightning,
static,
we
yeah,
can
when
hear
it
it in
hit.
our headphones.
Yeah.
We can't get electrocuted with these things, can we?
I hope not. We'll
I guess
find
there's
out.
only one way to
We'll find out. We'll find out. Hey,
Holy
you know what? If we
shit.
die doing a podcast, at least we died doing what we love, Jared.
Not worth it. Not
Thanks,
worth
buddy.
it.
Thanks. I
By the way,
appreciate
5-star reviews, everyone.
That's right.
On iTunes and
That's
Stitcher
right.
before we die.
Okay, someone in power, they seek control.
Control.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you are a long jacket, you are a controlling partner or just a controlling person, I guess.
okay,
But I think
okay.
this is used more specifically for relationships.
You got a long jacket.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Makes sense a little bit. If you have a long jacket, right? It could drag on the ground. You always got to kind of like watch where you're going. So you always got to kind of, I don't know. You always the long jacket holds you back a little bit. I don't know. I don't know why
So you're
that's
saying,
going out on a limb here.
So,
but
okay, the person in your relationship holds you back? Is that what you're telling me right now?
If they're controlling, yeah. Well, think about it. If someone controls you, I'm just looking this way. I'm not looking out, Jared. Sorry.
No, I know. I'm just shocked at what's happening.
Yeah, it's good we didn't even try to record this outside, even on the front
that would have
porch.
been terrible.
Yeah, it would have been awful. Anyways, give me some more untranslatables, Jared.
Okay, I'm going to give you one more. And this is Hindi, and it's Din Lat Ek Karana, and it's to make day and night into one.
Is it to burn the candle at both ends?
Sure, yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, it's to work very hard.
Uh-huh. Right. Well, I think burn the candle at both ends can mean work hard.
Like overexert yourself?
Or overexert yourself. Or like I've heard a lot of people use it in context with college kids. Like you have an 8 a.m., but then you're partying all night, so you're burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah, that's not really working hard,
right,
I guess.
Right.
Work hard, party hard.
That's right.
Work hard, play hard. Yeah.
That's what they say. I'll give you one more as well, Jared. My last one is Colombian Spanish, and it is que oso. Do you know what oso means?
How silly?
Oso means bear.
How bear, like naked?
Que can also mean what? So it means like what a bear.
Oh, the animal bear.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Que oso.
Like where's the fire kind of thing? Is that like what's the big deal or?
Well, you could say that to someone after they said que oso, but for example, Jared, say we.
Oh, it's like someone that over exaggerates, overreacts.
You're close. You're getting close.
Someone that makes a big deal out of nothing. So it's like
not quite. So let me give you an example because I feel like I'm going to keep steering you the wrong direction here. So say we decide things are all better, right? Pandemic's gone. Mm-hmm. We decide we're going to go out to dinner. You, me, your girlfriend, and some friends. We're going to go out, right?
Okay.
We're all dressed to the nines because why not? First time we can go out in a while. We want to dress a little nicer, okay? You used to wear a suit on Fridays in college, didn't you? Once in a while,
when I had a test.
When you had a test,
yeah.
See? Anyways, so we're getting dressed up, right? And we get some wine. We're enjoying ourselves, right? And your boy is an idiot, and I spill wine all over my brand new white button down, right? And I say que oso.
Like what an idiot kind of thing.
Yeah, or how embarrassing.
Okay.
How embarrassing.
So it's more like used kind of at yourself.
I think so.
Or you could use it to, I guess,
to someone too. Like, yeah, how embarrassing. Yeah.
Okay.
You could probably also be like, que oso. Like, how embarrassing. Yeah.
You know what's embarrassing is all the people getting canceled. Quote unquote.
That's true. Nowadays. That is true.
What is cancel culture? What is it when you hear cancel culture? What do you think?
So cancel culture, from my understanding of it, is basically word gets out that some celebrity or owner of a company or somebody has said or done or worn something offensive, right? So they have, they've...
It usually either falls into...
Like the Papa John's guy. Although they haven't really been canceled, but the Papa John's guy is one. He got fired.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm surprised that maybe it's because there's so many pizza chains that people don't really give a crap. But just
people still make fun of that guy all the time.
Right,
too.
right.
But he's kind of a character.
Right.
In my mind, well, at least these days, it falls into like at least the thing that they've done or said or whatever usually falls into either racist, sexist, homophobic,
being a Trump supporter.
Yes,
that's a big one.
Yes.
Being a Trump supporter.
Yes.
Yep.
Those are some of the big ones I could think of at the top of my head.
But I think the interesting thing is we call it cancel culture nowadays, right? But I think really all it is a modern day form of boycotting and realizing like these people aren't worth our business, worth our time.
Yeah.
I
all totally agree with you. Like sometimes it's like yeah, all right, maybe this happened years ago, but like it's still bad. Like it's still bad, and it's like now that we know this, we don't want to. And that's the thing. That's the thing about cancel culture, is that's why I always say like just like putting people on blast. I guess does something. I guess if you're like asking people why are you doing this or why or like hey this is weird, but like for me I always put my money where my mouth is. If I'm gonna like feel that strongly about something, like the grocery store, it's like all right, then I guess I'm not going to that grocery store anymore.
Right.
But what were we? Oh yes.
Cancel culture,
A lot of it also is. It seems like people. I think the term cancel culture comes from people finding. That term comes from people thinking that it's ridiculous what's happening. So like people are just coming after people for things they did long ago. Or it's like people have changed. But what I notice is that a lot of times when stuff like this happens, the perpetrator of whatever they're being quote unquote canceled from, especially if it's something homophobic or racist or something like that, they always will like try to defend it, be like, oh, I'm a comedian, that was long ago, or like, oh, come on. You're just pulling up old stuff. That like I took a chance. I made a joke. Where it's like, you know where I'm actually thinking of this? There's a recent one. Have you heard of Jessica Kirsten? She's a comedian. So she had a character from like 2016. I actually could pull it up, and she does these like sort of character things.
It's probably like a comedy sketch or a comedy skit.
It's just her. It's just one.
Just her. Okay.
But she like does like voice. She does like voices,
okay.
different voices and stuff, and sort of like characters, like human characters, not like real characters, but like a old Jewish lady or something.
Okay.
Or like, and then so she did this one, and someone brought it up, and hold on, let me play it. Let me get your opinion on it first. Then we'll see, because people have been talking about this on the social medias, but I gotta find it now. But oh no, that's not it. Oh, see, now I wish I was more prepared than this. But here it is. I got it. So let's see what you think about this.
What are you crazy? You keep coming up with this crazy idea. Wear your taxes, bitch. Why don't you show your taxes? Because you're going through an audit. You still got to show your taxes. And your wife, she pretty, but she can't show
At first, I
taxes.
couldn't even understand her.
Lady. And why don't you get your hair done?
All right.
She's doing like a Shaniqua, and then the character's name is Shaniqua.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see.
That was from 2016.
Okay. See,
it's 2020 right now.
What I was going to say is I could have viewed that character in two ways. Could have gone two ways.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been a redneck trailer trash white girl.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess the Shaniqua thing. I wasn't quite sure because the way she talks,
it's not good.
Either way, it's not good. But my whole point for this is I get you want to be a comedian and you want to be funny, but like that is just, to me, it's cringeworthy. You know,
right? And then so part of it was, so it's from 2016. So people are saying, well, this was a while ago, and then also like. There's been a whole lot of like I'm an ally. It's like she's like a liberal person. She's a lesbian. She's in a gay relationship.
What
she's
does that
Jewish.
have to do
I'm
with
telling
any
you what
of that?
She's saying.
What does yeah.
And she's like a lot of what I see in this cancel culture in general is like people trying to qualify why they're a good person, where it's like, but how about but it's not even about that. It's like this all or nothing of like, you're a good person or you're not, you're a racist person or you're not. It's like, why can't you acknowledge, this probably wasn't one of my best jokes. I feel like this could have been handled so much easier if she was just like, it was a shitty joke. And I probably shouldn't have done it.
Right.
But it's like just trying to like justify well, why?
I think
I'm the victim too, so I can.
Well, yeah, I think anybody who tries to play the victim card in this it's just ridiculous. It's completely crazy. At the same time, why do you have to qualify yourself as a good person? You know, why?
Right.
I figure it makes much more sense to apologize and, as you said, just be like, well, that was a stupid joke, and I would even say, it was racist, and I see that now, and at the time I didn't see it, and that's life. You know, we all do and say things that were stupid, that we regret, that we probably shouldn't have at some point in our lives. Mm-hmm. But how else do you learn how not to say it? There's no other way to do it.
But people think about it now. They're like, oh no, now I'm a racist. It's like, no, you can do something racist and not be a racist.
Look, you could have walked arm in arm with Martin Luther King during the Civil Rights March. You could have done that.
And that's still racist.
That's not what I was going to say.
And I'm saying if she was that person, and then what she did is still racist.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't matter. I had a friend of mine in the Czech Republic ask me one time about the podcast, And he had asked me, well, do you guys talk about race a lot on the podcast? Because I'm a white guy and you're a black guy. And I said, well, not really, because we just don't really talk about it. I don't know. And it was funny though, because he said, well, it'd be really interesting, just the way he said it. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm going to say. It would be really interesting to get a black person's perspective on X or on Y or whatever, right? And once again, I don't think it comes from a place of racism, especially a lot of, there are racist Czech people, and I know some of them, trust me, but a lot of Czech people, I think it's because, they don't have as many different, ethnicities living in the Czech Republic as we do in the States. It's just a different scenario. You know what I mean?
So what you're saying is I don't speak for the black community.
what I'm saying is it's unfair to put that on your shoulders. I don't speak for the entire white community.
Sure,
I don't want to. There's a lot of white people I do. I want to be like, look, I don't take responsibility for those white people. No, thank you.
So let's. I thought of some recent cancellations that have come up.
Ooh, yeah, I'm excited to hear some of these.
And, the other interesting about canceling is it involves people just. I think the problem people have with canceling, or the ideal of cancel culture, is this idea that people are like just digging deep into social media, and just like on Twitter, you can just type in a person's name and some sort of racial slur, and it'll just show every time that person is involved in a tweet in that racial slur. And it's like, so if you really want to, you can just go back through a person's entire timeline and just pick out the slurs and find these people. And so I think,
and some people do some really deep digging for some of this stuff. Too.
But it's not hard. That's the thing. It's like it's pretty easy to find a tweet from 2013, especially since most people probably aren't often tweeting terrible racial slurs on a regular basis.
Right.
So it's pretty easy to pick them out, even if it is from 10 years ago.
Right.
Another thing I wanted to say is I think a lot of this started with as well. I think cancel culture. Where do you think it really started? Because this is sort of a recent phenomenon.
I think a lot of it probably comes from social media.
But what sort of? I understand that, sure, of course. But what sort of activity on social media? Because I was thinking about this on the drive. I think I figured.
I think it's people posting. I think especially videos of stuff that it gets a reaction. It gets like or some of these tweets, as you said, where like you see this tweet and it gives you, like I said, just a type of, it makes you feel some type of way.
Right. And it is a good way to get likes, to get seen.
Right.
And it is like hey, look, I'm better than this person kind of thing.
So do you mean like it's like a way for some people to validate?
No, what I was thinking of a very specific event that happened in culture that sort of, I feel like really set this off. And I think it had a bit to do with Me Too.
Oh,
I feel like that was sort of the first time where there was a lot of people sort of openly being called out for something. I feel like there was a lot of people that found. And I'm not even saying I'm one of these people, but there was definitely a lot of conversation about like, oh, there's no due process. Oh, you're just putting these people's private information on blast, or oh, you're just like these people aren't getting like their proper day in court or whatever, and you're just ruining their careers when you don't really have the solid evidence or something like that. And I kind of always, especially when it comes to something like Me Too, I always kind of hated that, because it's like, but we all, it's not true, but aren't we should all sort of be aware of the fact that most sort of like sexual assault is not getting solved in the courtroom. It's like almost like I'd say the vast majority of sexual assault does not go to the courtroom and be like, oh, now this is like, that's not how it works ever.
Right. Well, and how
so rarely is that's how that works.
Right. And how do you even really bring justice to these people for something that terrible?
Exactly. And then there's always this like, I feel like especially in the comedy community, there's always like this talk about like people being so afraid that like, oh, I've said stuff that could definitely get me canceled.
Right.
Or it's like this sort of constant fear of being quote unquote canceled, where it's like, but that just shows to me that like you can't, like there's no introspection, like you can't accept.
Interesting.
You can't
what do you mean?
Or it's like you can't take any ownership over like, so you don't stand by what you're saying. Is that what you're saying? First of all,
okay. Oh, I agree with you, but what about, for example, if you are a comedian and you say a joke, or I think a lot of the issue with cancel culture is things get taken out of context.
Sure.
Right?
But I think a lot of these people have fan bases. And I feel like these people are getting quote unquote canceled by people that were never fans of them,
That's true. That's a
good
point.
If these are your fans and they actually understand your quote unquote comedy, then I don't think it's really going to affect your career. Maybe in the short term, if you're I just feel like the people that are canceling you, quote unquote, were never fans of this person to begin with.
Right.
And it's like, did you even want these people to come to your show or whatever it was? It's like, you don't even like these people either, the people that are, quote unquote, canceling you. And so, I don't know. I feel like with comedy especially, if you can stand by a joke and you think it's funny, then there's probably a fan base there. And or you should be able to be like, yeah, that was probably not my best joke. All right. That was not, or like you look back and say, okay, that wasn't good. That was probably, or like in the case of this woman, be like, yeah, that was probably racist, and now I can see that the people have brought that to my attention.
Right.
Where it's like there's no ability to say that it's just immediately the defense.
But my question is, how do we move forward from cancel culture? Right. So you have somebody that's been quote unquote canceled, right? Celebrity has said or done something, either racist or like you said, misogynistic or whatever, right? How can we right the wrongs? How do we right the wrongs? And what about the people who have been canceled and it hasn't been right? You know what I mean?
When does that happen? I feel like that doesn't happen.
Does it not?
I feel like it doesn't really happen. And it's like, I don't know. I just don't hear about that happening.
Yeah,
where it's
I guess you're right.
Even like Aziz Ansari. You remember he had that thing that happened to him where
he didn't really get canceled though, did he?
But I think people would claim that people tried to quote unquote cancel him, or even like Louis C.K. Like there was probably a short period of time where he didn't do comedy, but it's not like he was like, oh God, how am I going to pay my rent? Oh God, it's like he still is. He's been able to come back now. Like he's been, well, I guess not now. It's a pandemic. I don't know, but like pre-pandemic, he was performing again normally.
Right.
People like his peers and his fans did not go anywhere. And like, and that's the thing is like during this cancel culture stuff, like with this woman or with Nick Cannon. I saw his name.
Ooh, that was a big
he was
thing
one of the
too.
ones. But like with all these people, like there's always these people that stand by them. So it's like, how can you take these people's careers away from them if the people that still sort of always quote unquote respected them, whether it be their comedy peers or their fans, it's like they're not going to really lose that many fans, I don't think.
Right. Yeah.
And also, I think the thing with cancel culture, especially if it's not something egregious, where it's like cancel culture is also not bad. I mean, like, I think it's fair to say that people like Cosby, like, did he get canceled? Is that canceled or is that past canceled?
That's past canceled. That was long overdue.
Or Harvey Weinstein.
Right.
It's like these are known predators.
Right.
Where it's like, yeah, we need, but that's kind of stuff clearly needed social media attention, and it needed like constant attention to even be properly addressed.
I will say the awareness that has come out of that, I think, is a good thing. But I guess I just do worry about if, and once again, this is a hypothetical thing here, but if someone was, somehow canceled, but you're right, I guess all the instances, to me, I guess it does seem kind of fair, quote unquote fair, whatever that even means in this context.
Yeah.
That these people do get canceled.
It's like, look at our president. He says stupid shit all the time.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think he's been canceled in a lot of ways by a lot of people, as in they're not going to get his vote. But
well, I guess we'll see. We'll see. Let's
we
talk
need
about
to do an episode on that, by the way, at some point.
I figured we should wait till we get closer. It's only July.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some popular cancellations. So I brought up Nick. Oh, jeez. So every now and again, I just want to kick that clock.
Right.
We could sit outside and you could barely hear birds in the background, but this
Right.
thing just like takes over the
That's right.
my mind.
That's good old German engineering here, Jared. That cuckoo clock.
Except apparently when the power goes out, it stops even though it's battery operated,
That's
according
right.
to you.
That's right.
Nick Cannon got canceled recently.
Didn't he say some like anti-Semitic
Some
stuff?
super anti-Semitic stuff on
Okay.
his podcast. And he got canceled, but the cancellation was just him getting fired from Viacom, which is MTV and Nickelodeon. It's a
Okay.
giant media syndicate or whatever they call it. And he had that show Wild and Out that's been going on
MTV,
for
right?
ever.
Long
It's
time.
probably been on for like
Long
11
time.
years. And he said some anti-Semitic stuff, and he got
Got the boot.
some he got fired, and he was trying to get his he was trying to get his he wanted to have rights to his show. And it's like, I feel like that's something you need to figure out, like, when you sign the contract.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people don't realize that when they do music and
Yeah.
stuff like that too. You know, if you sign a contract with a record label, that's not your music anymore.
Right.
That's
You're making
theirs.
you're making
Yeah,
music for
that's
them.
theirs.
They
Yeah.
contracted you out to make
Right.
music.
Exactly.
So that one, but that's a weird. I don't really want to count that as a cancellation because, I mean, he said some terrible stuff and a company fired him. It's not like it took a whole bunch of people on the internet
Right.
to be like, get him out of here.
Right.
One that I find, but the Washington football team.
Oh, the Redskins?
Yes, people would say that they're getting canceled because it's like this. They're like, this has been a name that's been around forever, and now all of a sudden these liberals don't like it. It's like it's not offensive at all.
It's kind of offensive.
But then my thing would be like, would you say that to like a Native American's face? Like,
Right.
that's
Right. The sad thing is,
Seems
Jared,
very
I
offensive.
guarantee you there are some of them that would. I guarantee
Probably,
you.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Which is why it's stayed there so long, to be
yeah,
honest.
that's true.
But yeah.
And they like dress up at the games and stuff as the
Yeah. Like that. Yeah. Oh, it's crazy stuff, man.
But people do feel like there is like this like with this cancel culture thing, there is always like this why now kind of thing. Why now?
Right.
It's like, oh, now you have a problem with it. Where it's like just because it's been around forever, it's just like, oh, well, like why do we have to change it now if you didn't have a problem with it
Right.
2 years ago?
Now my question is, what about Chris D'Elia?
Oh, hold on one second. I have one more thing about the Redskins thing.
Okay.
I would say that in general, with a lot of things like this, people are talking about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
This is just when it's finally getting a big enough audience where other people are starting to hear about it.
Right.
Like this is not the first time people have been complaining about the name of the football team or the Cleveland baseball team either.
Correct.
What's that one called?
Cleveland Indians. Jared loves this. He gets so much enjoyment from it.
So, like, it's not the first time this is happening. It's just like this is the first time you're paying attention to it because you can't avoid it.
Right.
And the only reason it's happening, is because companies are now taking money away from them. Like Nike is like, oh, yeah, we're changing our mind. We're not going to sell these jerseys anymore, these racist jerseys anymore.
Right.
And the people are like, oh, now Nike cares. What about the fact that you guys have sweatshops and
Right.
and third world? I hate using that word in term in other countries
In developing countries?
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, that's a good point, but it's like, so should they just keep doing a whole bunch of terrible things because they're
Right.
doing like
Right.
I don't understand the logic.
I guess pick your battles would be
Or
the
just- it's
logic
like,
there.
it's like,
Yeah.
why are you picking and choosing? And it's like I don't know. It's like this is something that seemed actionable,
Right.
So they it's just
Right.
I don't know. It's such a ridiculous game, and it's also coming from people. It's like I imagine you're also still or not still, but it's like did that stop you from shopping at these places? It's like it's not like you're living some sort of holy life where you only shop American and everything is sustainably raised in your household.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
It's like it's just this sort of picking and choosing in all directions, I guess, of just like what are we going to choose that we have a problem with. I actually saw, we'll get to Chris D'Elia. I actually saw during the Bubba Wallace thing, I'm big into the automotive industry, so I see a lot of NASCAR news, even though I don't really follow NASCAR. But I see a lot of people talking about it. And after the Confederate flag or something, just during the height of the Bubba Wallace, when he was really in the news, there was this one this one car journalist that I follow, a white guy, and he was typing in Bubba Wallace in the N-word into, but he was like showing, like he was trying to prove a point. He's like, look how racist all these people are, and I so wanted to quote tweet and be like, oh, but so you're typing in the N?
Right.
And I didn't care, really.
Right.
I just thought it was kind of ironic. Then it's like, oh, so you're typing it in. So I was like, so where does that fall on the scale? But but it was just like, now I'm just trolling because I don't really care. I just find it kind of funny in my head.
That, which brings up an interesting point. I think another aspect of the cancel culture is the trolling.
Fun. It is fun.
It's the trolling. I don't know how we haven't at least talked about this earlier. Yeah. Trolling, I think, is I think I really love seeing, I've been on Twitter a little bit more here and there the last week or two. And it's just because I want to see what you've been tweeting about the podcast because it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. I would, but I'm such an idiot with Twitter, bro, that I think I would probably cause more harm than good. So I just retweet what you tweet out. I think that's a safer way.
I've definitely noticed because there's a lot more I would tweet, but there's a fine line in my head between like stupid tweet and silly, and stupid tweet and you sound like an idiot.
Right. But I think that's the great thing about Twitter and cancel culture. Seeing it on Twitter, like I've seen some things on Black Twitter that were kind of funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it is really
the Goya beans thing.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I've seen so many memes and different things online too.
Well, it's interesting. I actually saw that was actually a big one. So the CEO of Goya / owner, I think it's still a family owned company.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I think. Anyway, some executive at Goya was praising Trump in his response to the pandemic and everything, which if anyone's paid attention to the news, it's not going great. It's not going great here.
Yeah, not going great.
But so people were like, "Oh, I'm not shopping at Goya anymore." It's like, "Oh, F Goya, that's messed up." And I saw this one comedian respond to someone, be like, "Ha, are you effing kidding me? Like, what a baby for saying someone's not shopping at Goya anymore because of that." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "That's what a protest is." Where it's like that's how you protest by like it's like what do you it's like this is part of a protest
like step one.
Yeah, this is the simplest thing you can do to protest is be like I'm not supporting a company that supports something I don't support.
Right.
And the best way I can show my lack of support is by not supporting them. Where it's like, how is that a childish thing? And it's like, that's because this person is so disconnected from any of the sort of injustice in life where they're just like, what are you talking about? They're just beans.
Right.
Where it's like, yeah, but this is one of the tiniest ways that you can like impact some sort of change. Whereas like by not shopping at a place where it's like, oh, I used to shop there, but now I know that I'm supporting some guy I don't like. How about I just find there's a whole bunch of other bean companies. How about I just choose one where the guy hasn't said some racist shit yet or like supported someone that I hate. It's like that's the simplest form of support. So that is an interesting thing that they're saying like, who's trying to cancel Goya? It's like no one's trying to cancel Goya. Right. They're just like, I just don't want to go there anymore because I don't support the person. And it has been weird seeing the whole presidential family turning into like some sort of NASCAR car of Goya that's like all over the place. Right. They're like, we love Goya. We only eat Goya in our household. I didn't realize Goya made so much stuff, by the way. They made like cookies and stuff.
Really?
Did not notice that. Yeah, I saw a spread on Trump's desk.
Right. Oh, man.
And they were like wafers.
That picture, dude. Oh, God. Oh, that picture, man.
Where it's like, where it's like people would say that, oh, why are you canceling them? They're just a company. Where it's like, I don't even consider that to be part of cancel culture.
Okay.
Because I think that's not like people trying to find some reason to get rid of something. That's like I just don't want to support something that I'm very aware of. Or it's like if someone makes a joke, for example, 4 years ago that is racist, where it's like, all right, yeah, this person claims to be an ally and maybe they're quote unquote doing all the right things. Maybe they did go to a protest. I mean, maybe they did vote Democrat every time or whatever. But the fact that you can't recognize your blind spot shows that you have some the fact that you can't recognize racism shows that all right, we're not saying you're some sort of monster that needs to be like removed from society, but it's just like you can't even recognize the problem with what with that. And then there's always the people, especially in comedy, that just jump on and like stick up for them, like, oh, this person means well. Where it's like, first of all, it's a bunch of white people sticking up for them. Where it's like, when have black people, by the way, we'll say, hey, check guy, black people never never listen to white people on what is or isn't racist. That doesn't even make any sense.
That makes no sense.
And it's like, so
whatsoever.
hearing like all these like white people jump to people's conclusion or back and be like, or whether it's a racist thing or even like some sort of claim of sexual assault or misogyny or anything like that. Hearing like a dude or a white dude be like, oh, that person I've never heard that person say anything racist. It's like, that doesn't make any, like, yeah, okay, to you. Or, like, first of all, just because they're not saying outright racist stuff to your face doesn't mean anything.
Right. And if you're a white guy hanging out with other white guys, you're probably not going to hear anything racist because you're hanging out with a bunch of white guys.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
or you're probably more likely to be like, oh, this person's just making a joke. They don't mean it.
Right.
There's a whole lot of they don't mean it that I hear a lot where it's like it's all about the intentions. It's like, sure, but it's like,
right.
But it's like, you don't think we're thinking about that too? The people that are saying we have a problem with this. So yeah, jeez, I feel like I'm getting worked up over nothing here.
Cancel culture will do that to you, Jared.
But what about J.K. Rowling?
Oh yeah, she. I don't really know, and this was before I kind of was, going on Twitter more to see what was going on with the podcast. But
so she was talking about how it's not fair to lump the woman's experience in with like transgender women have not experienced the women's experience, so it's not fair to put those together as one one sort of woman's experience, because it's not the same thing.
So so I think that the reason why people got so offended was she was more or less saying
it came out of nowhere too, by the way.
Right.
Like, no one was asking her anything. She just started tweeting this.
Well, I think that's the issue with a lot of these are usually just random unprovoked tweets.
No one asked you anything.
Exactly. You're giving advice when nobody asked, and a lot of times it's not very good
advice. You're a billionaire, just shut up.
Right.
Well,
right.
And I hate to even say that, but it's just like, but it's like you're taking, like, there's just no reason for you to do this.
Right. Well, I think what probably offended most people was what it sounds like to me. What a lot of people hear is that like trans women aren't women is what she was basically saying, right? And yeah, I can see how that can very easily offend a lot of people.
I could definitely see, like, at least the point that she's trying to make.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't understand.
But it comes across wrong.
And no one is negating her experience as a woman, you know? Where it's like why do you feel like your experience as a woman is somehow being challenged?
Right,
because
it's not.
Because a transgender woman is speaking about her experience as a woman.
Right.
It's like that doesn't have any effect on you at all.
Exactly.
And so it's just like, why do you need to some sorts like make it clear and make a declaration like this?
Right.
Well,
that's the same thing when hetero people make statements about LGBTQ people.
Yeah, like throwing it in their face or something.
It's like, why? Yeah, it's just let people do their thing. You do your thing. Be a good person. I don't see what's so hard about that.
Yeah.
But I think cancel culture is a little tricky though, Jared, too, because I also view it too as like you can kind of feed the dragon. You can kind of fuel the fire.
And it's fun to talk about. People like it turns into
good gossip.
It turns into
very good gossip,
like a cultural event on social media.
Right.
And like especially now in these days and where we're full swing with social media, you can sort of like go back and like various cancellations, quote unquote, or sort of highlights of social media. Like I even remember like Elon Musk. He's a popular person for people to constantly go after for good reasons.
Well, he got. I remember hearing about a former employee of his that they got fired because they got drug tested. But then, a week before, he was smoking a blunt on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Well, that's the thing. People were talking about, like, well, what's the big deal? He's in California. It's like, who cares if... It's like, yeah, but he works at a company where they drug test people.
Right. That's kind of an
obviously,
issue.
it's legal. We're not saying, like, they're not... I'm not saying anything. But it's like, they're not saying it's...
In
but
California, it's legal, right.
But it's like it looks bad as a CEO of a company where it's like, so what about me who sits in an office and I'm not on a assembly line putting together a car. It's like, why do I have to get drug tested? Yeah, you can just go and openly do it, and it's so it's clearly no big deal. And yeah, it's just like the hypocrisy of it.
Yeah.
And then there was also him calling, I don't remember who it was, but he called some guy a pedophile.
Oh yeah, who was that? I don't remember.
I don't remember who that was. And then there was also him saying that he was gonna like he thinks his company's stock is too high. Like he's just like actively trying to destroy Tesla.
Didn't he lose Tesla
reason.
like billions of dollars from that one tweet?
Yeah, I think also that tweet lost him his place on the board. Like I think he's still the CEO, but he used to be on the board, and he's no longer on the board.
Gotcha. Interesting. I've been meaning to. Let's talk about Chris D'Elia for a minute, though, because I have some questions. So he has been accused.
I'm not an expert,
right? Well, I just want to I just want to talk to you about it. I shouldn't say I have some questions. I have some questions. I need some answers, Jared. Give me the answers right now. Give me the answers.
God.
That's why you're here, Jared. Need the answers. So he was accused by quite a few women of kind of being
girls and
pervy,
women, let's say.
Right, and approaching them when they were underage, right? 16, 17, 18, 19. He's in his 40s, right? I think.
Like early 40s or something like that.
And so a couple women put some tweets out, right? I don't really remember the whole story. What
there were, this one girl initially put out like email screenshots of conversations they had that apparently started on Instagram. A lot of them tend to start on Instagram, it seems like, and he tries to transfer it to like to email or something like that. And so there are all these emails about like, oh, when you I'm going to be in your city, how and then like, oh, I'm like 16. He's like, oh, haha, whatever. But then also there were some where he like, I don't know. Then there's also quote unquote proof that there were some where like he did. Like, the girl would say, like, I'm 16, and he'd stop talking to them. And so that's sort of the story, is that people claim that he's sort of, going after young/underage girls.
Right. And I heard some people say he was grooming them, too.
Yeah.
Which
I don't really know what that means, to be honest with you.
I think grooming is when, like, when somebody, and I think it's a man or woman, I could be wrong about that, but I think it's basically when you try to manipulate and kind of have them grow up in a way, place of power, some type of power imbalance, and you try to groom them and to shape them, mold them to be the person you want them to be, right?
It's like, oh, you wouldn't do that, don't you want to? That would, that would make me angry. You wouldn't. I could sort of. You wouldn't want to make me angry, would you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want to disappoint me, do you? Yeah.
Sort of like it's pretty easy, like to manipulate a child as like as an adult.
Well, sure, they're very impressionable. They trust you, as they should. Kids should be trusting adults. For not all, probably, but their parents, yeah.
But in general, like, and they're taught to that. Obviously they don't know anything, and adults know everything.
Right. Which is, the older I get, the more I realize that is not true.
Yeah,
that is definitely not true. But yeah, so would you say though that was he a part of cancel culture?
Yeah, for sure. And it started off. When I first saw this, because I follow a lot of comedians and I follow a lot of car people. Those are the two communities that I feel like I'm very deep in on social media, and Formula One. Shout out to Lewis Hamilton today, winning his getting his 90th pole, 8th win, I believe, in Hungary. He just passed Michael Schumacher in Hungary wins. Sorry.
Nice. Okay.
But anyway, what the hell were we talking about? Oh yeah,
Chris D'Elia and cancel culture. Yeah.
When this first started happening, I saw like before, like when it first started coming out, I saw a bunch of people being like, "Oh man, I hope this isn't true." Where it's like, well, like, but obviously I'll wait until like I get some, due process happens, and there's some like solid, there's no solid proof. I kept seeing, and I'm like, what do you want, like a sex tape? And it's like, what do you mean solid proof? Because because in my mind. Now, obviously, there's more that could come out after this, but there's not much more that you're going to see than these screenshots of emails. And obviously, now he did say he came out with his quote unquote team did come out with some random emails where he's like, "Oh, you're 16, I'm out," kind of thing. Where it's like, yeah, you could. I'm sure that you could find some select times where he did that, maybe.
Right.
But it's just like, how many of these encounters is he having? Especially, he's been a comedian for a while, and it's just like. And so as soon as I saw this, I'm like, bro, you don't like. it's like this is a great reason why I think cancel culture is stupid. You're a fan of them, you don't want to believe it, which I understand.
Right.
Okay. But it's just like, oh, all right. Well, once I get some solid proof, it's like that's not going to happen. I don't know what you. It's like
from
this
either
is not
side,
going to go to court.
Right.
This is.
Sent you
look at this
texty
now?
text. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, this is okay. This is not going to go to court.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what you are looking for as far as solid evidence. He's never going to be like, yeah, I did it.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
Clearly. And so it's like I don't understand like. And so that's why I think the idea of cancel culture is a little ridiculous.
Right. And that leads me to my last question, Jared. Thank you for bringing the answers today about cancel culture.
Facts, as you would say.
Right. What is the overall point though, or goal? Is it to troll people? Is it to smear their name and reputation through the mud? What in your opinion, what do you think is like? What's the goal or the purpose of cancel culture?
I think there are some people that do believe that like they're doing some good.
Mm-hmm.
There's that quote unquote social justice warrior.
Right.
And I think there is this little bit of like, is this your hero? This person's a monster.
Right. Is this your king?
Right. Exactly.
Watched that yesterday, actually.
Black Panther.
Yeah, while I was
that's a good
practicing guitar. Yeah,
I haven't seen it since it came out. So I think there's a little bit of that where it's like these people, especially since a lot of it obviously tends to go for people with power. It's not just
and
it's
celebrities,
usually,
especially.
Or I guess now with all these Karen videos, there's a new sort of form of cancel culture.
That's true.
Of like going after
KCC
these,
Karen cancel culture
of going after these normal, quote unquote, normal people who are it's like, oh, you're going to ruin this person's career,
and then they get doxxed, right? Isn't that what it's called?
And that's where they'll like put out their name
their
and
info
and this is where they work. Go get, and then they'll be like, and a lot of times on Twitter you'll see like Twitter, go get them,
right?
And it'll be like there was actually one recently, I believe it was in California or Texas, but there was this woman that was in a neighborhood and the guy was like mowing a lawn. She walked up to him and asked for his papers. Like, this is freaking
Nazi Germany, 1941,
yeah, and she was like asking for his papers. And he was just like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And he's also like, can you get away from me? There's a pandemic happening right now.
Right. I don't know you, lady. Yeah, what are you doing?
And then people found her information. I don't know how they find these people. I don't know how they do it, but they do it.
It's not that hard, I don't think.
I guess so.
Yeah.
And maybe some neighbors like, oh, I know this. Like, clearly this is not the first time they've been an asshole.
Right. Yeah, definitely not.
So there's probably plenty of people out there that don't like them. It's like, oh, I work with this person.
Right.
She's the worst. Can we finally get her out of my job too?
I will say, hopefully, that cancel culture does teach some people a lesson that they deserve to learn.
I think people are learning that they need to be a little bit more aware of what they're putting out.
Right.
Because I think
the
a lot
internet
of it
is kind of forever.
A lot of it also
we know.
comes from like, I hear a lot of people saying where it's like, this was blah 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 years ago. It's like this is before a lot of people were even on Twitter in 2010. It's like, yeah, but they still said it, And I understand maybe saying stupid shit and be like, yeah, all right, I said some stupid shit. But it's just like. But I feel like we should be getting to the point where people are more aware that it's like, everyone can see this.
Right.
And it's like,
and can share it.
Yes. And it's like...
screenshot it, yeah.
So I feel like people, like, if you're going to say something, I feel like people should be able to stand by what they're saying. Like, the fact that I still see people, like deleting a tweet where it's like, oh, I thought especially if you're trying to be, like, funny... Where it's like, how could you even, like, I just, so many times, like, I don't know how you could be so short-sighted to think that people wouldn't have a problem with it. So, like, there's rarely a time when I'm like, even if I'm not offended, quote unquote, I'm still like, how did you not think someone would have a problem with this?
Right.
You think you're just being funny? I just don't understand that. Another part of cancel culture, I think, there is the quote unquote social justice warrior, even though I hate that term. I really hate that term. Because it's just like, so... It's like, first of all, the idea of fighting for social justice has turned into some sort of weird insult,
right?
I hate that term.
Well, I think it's because some people do get a little high and mighty.
That definitely does happen. Sure, yeah.
I think because they think they're being a warrior, when I think it's great to stand for these causes and support, but you're not a warrior. I mean, you're not. You're not a warrior.
They didn't use that term. That term was put on them.
Was it?
Yeah, they didn't. I don't think social justice
heard
warrior.
Plenty of social justice warriors say, "I am a social justice warrior."
Oh,
You've
really?
never heard people say that?
No, that's gross.
Yeah, I've heard people say it, man.
That's gross.
Yeah, I've heard people say it.
I wouldn't do that. I
Right.
think that's gross.
But see. So there you go.
I don't. Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
I thought, but I don't like when I hear. Now that's a little different. I don't like when I hear like people use that on someone as an insult.
Right.
Or it's like anytime someone
look at
tries
that
to like
social justice
speak up for
warrior,
what's
yeah.
right, they're a social justice warrior. I find that a little ridiculous. But these people there's definitely people on Twitter, and that's what I was going to say. Another aspect is the trolling, and it goes on whether you're a social justice warrior or like some sort of alt-right 4chan homie.
Right.
I don't know. I don't really know what they call themselves. What do they call them? Like a cack or something like that?
Probably.
They got all
yeah.
these weird terms.
All sorts of them. Yeah.
With your little Pepe the Frog kind of thing.
Oh yeah, the Pepe the
Tea
Frog,
or whatever
yeah.
it is. But there is always, but there is sort of this like a like for a lot of those people, I do feel like it is like you think you're like, it's like these people think they're so high and mighty. Let's just go find things to prove that they're terrible people too. And I think there is sort of just like a game to it for a lot of people.
Sure.
Where it's like, look who I was able to like for example, Chrissy Teigen. She's very popular, sort of a celebrity on social media that people love, but people also give her a lot of hate. And there was this one tweet that she tweeted out in like 2011 that involved an offensive term for transgender people, and she was like, and people were like trying to like quote unquote cancel her, or like Jamel Hill. She's a sports commentator that also talks a lot about social justice and racism in society in general. But she started off, she got famous, I would say, as a at least mainstream kind of famous as a sports commentator. So people always try to find like so blah 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 gets quote unquote canceled for this, but she says this and that's cool. Like tries to make up reasons why she's racist just because she comments on white people or something like that. So I think there is a large aspect of it where people are trying to like find some sort of ignorance in the or some sort of hypocrisy in this quote unquote cancel culture. Like it's like some sort of response to cancel culture. Like, oh, you think you're so high and mighty, but this person said some sort of offensive term once, and it's like, yeah, but this person was also able to be like, yeah, that was offensive, and I won't say that. And then and it's just like it's like a response almost, like you think you're better than us.
So that I guess that brings us to the kind of the end of cancel culture. Is there a way to get out of it though? Like say you do some terrible things in the past, or you say some shitty things. When and how, and I don't think either of us have the answer here. I know this is a huge question, but you know what I mean? Like
I'd say
do we give people the second chance?
Say when people own up to it,
okay,
it's not as fun for social media.
That's true.
And so I'd say we don't see a lot of people in this cancel culture owning up and saying, listen, I made a mistake.
Right.
And if we do, it's some sort of lame-ass apology.
Yeah, what can you do if you do give a sincere apology? I mean, what can people really do?
Pretty quickly.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I think it's just like, all right, that's a moment for me to think twice next time.
Right. But I think a lot of these people aren't going to think twice, unfortunately.
Exactly. And they don't really care in the first place.
Right.
But I think if you actually like embrace it, and you don't even have to like quote unquote delete it or whatever, just be like, yeah, that was messed up. I shouldn't have done that. Now I think about it, that was pretty racist, and especially if you're a comedian, I like to think I'm a better comedian now. That was 4 years ago, and I probably wouldn't do that joke now.
Right.
And then I think it's just like, and that's the thing with that woman Jessica Kirsten. She was saying like, especially in comedy, they talk a lot about how like it's white women that are trying to do the canceling. Like especially if it's something racist, it's rarely a black person bringing it up. It's usually like some sort of white person bringing it up. That's some sort of quote unquote social justice warrior that's trying to like prove some
doesn't
points.
Surprise me though.
And so that's what Jessica Kirsten was saying. She's like two white people are two white women are telling me that some joke I made years ago was racist, and then one black woman was like, just so you know, I think it's racist too. And she even said, she's like, I'm a fan, but I think it's racist too. And then it turns into defense and I'm not racist kind of thing, where it's like, it's like that was your chance to acknowledge, or she even like sort of extended the olive branch, saying like, I'm not trying to quote unquote cancel you. I'm telling you I'm a fan of you.
Right.
Like I've been a fan of your comedy for a long time. So when I see you do a joke that I think is sort of a lazy, not funny joke, bums me out because I think you're a better comedian than that.
Hold yourself to a higher standard.
Yeah. And it's like
sure.
And I think because we're not going to be able to appeal to these people on a race level, but I think if we could even appeal to them on like could you not acknowledge like then recognize it as on a joke level? It's like, first of all, you name her Shaniqua, which is the hackiest, black woman name ever. Like that's been a go-to like stereotype name since like the 90s.
Yeah.
Probably before that.
Yeah, probably.
It's like it's so hack to use as a name in 2016 in general.
Right.
And it's like it was clearly not a good accent because you're like, I don't know, what is she supposed to be doing
here?
At
first I wasn't sure. Yeah, is it a redneck?
But then when you hear
girl?
Shaniqua, it's like, all right, well now this seems kind of racist because it's a terrible attempt at trying to be like a hacky black person with all I don't know, it's all these like hacky tropes of a black person, like getting your hair did, or like it's just like it's just not funny.
Right. Yeah. It's been done before. It's not, and regardless if it even had been done before or not, I think doesn't matter.
Right.
It's irregardless. It's irregardless.
How
Jared.
dare you?
Piggybacking on that, let's circle around here, Jared. Sorry, people, I'm giving Jared his favorite catchphrases here. But yeah, it's really funny though too how just the way social media works and how this has become a thing. Who would have thought, when we were kids on like MySpace, that it would evolve into what it has.
Right.
Because
the idea of there wasn't like a popularity there wasn't really
the idea of a social media influencer didn't exist 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
It wasn't a thing.
Yeah. And now it's like I'm seeing like all the time I'm seeing people get canceled. Like, I don't even know who that is.
Right.
Like there's actually been some where that have happened, and like Sydney will ask me about it, and I'll be like, yeah, I guess I saw people talking about that.
Right.
And I saw that the person said something offensive, but I don't even really know who that person is.
Right.
So it's like it doesn't like I'm not
at that point. Kind of who cares?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah,
it's like people say terrible things all the time.
Right.
It's like how much energy am I supposed to focus on every time someone says something terrible? And it's just like, I mean, this happens all the time. I can't dig deep into every one of this. That's all I would do is look up racist shit if that was the case.
Right. That'd be depressing. And there are a lot of terrible
that
people
could be
out
a
there.
full-time job just looking up racist stuff that happens.
Well, Jared, if you want to calm your mood a little bit, one thing you could do is put on some tunes. And today,
I'm with you.
Today, we're going to do something a little different just because
we didn't prepare.
Yep. I wasn't going to say that, but okay, Jared. I was going to say because I wanted to surprise you with a new song, but all right. So this is called Funktioniert nicht by a German group. We've actually had a song on the pod before from them called Ragabund, and they are a German reggae group. So I'm curious to... We're going to kind of listen to it, give it a listen.
Yeah, we got to be careful.
Yeah, we're not going to hold it up to the mic anymore. But I've heard this song before.
over-exuberance got part of our episode blocked in a few countries last episode.
Yep. But I want to hear your thoughts on it, Jared. What,
So first of all, it's got like a hip-hop vibe to it. Mm-hmm. It is reggae, but it's more like it got a hip-hop beat to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of actually sounds like a Shaggy.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know, dude. I just, for some reason, have always enjoyed the way German sounds with reggae.
Yeah.
It's a weird combination, but it somehow kind of works.
It works for some reason. I mean, we love Seed. We love Waldo Stettler. It does work for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Germans in general seem to be like, it's almost
They're
like
keen on the reggae and the hip hop over there. They really are.
Yeah, there's a whole scene. I like it. It is like a hip hoppy reggae kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It does sort of seem like outdated a little bit, though. I will be honest with you.
Well, the record I think is from 2012.
Okay,
so that might be why.
I'm surprised it's even that new. For some reason, I was expecting like earlier 2000s, maybe like 2006.
It does have that vibe.
2007. Something.
It does have that vibe. But I guess for me, that's kind of why I like this stuff.
Maybe like a Black Eyed Peas vibe a little bit.
Oh yeah, okay.
Even though they're not really reggae, but like the sound of the voices, maybe.
Yeah. It's got that like little organ in the background too, which is kind of cool. Yeah, it's an interesting song. had we been more prepared, we could talk about the lyrics a little bit more. But
can you tell me about them? Do you know this song?
I haven't. I've only listened to it maybe 3 or 4 times.
All right, I don't. That's okay.
But yeah, we won't worry about the lyrics. But check it out on our YouTube channel, Untranslatable Podcast on YouTube. The Song of the Pod playlist. The song is called "Funktioniert nicht" by the group Ragabund. So check it out. It's definitely a good one. Get you some nice chill hip-hoppy reggae vibes.
Yeah, dude.
If you're driving down the street or going on a little walk, or you're just chilling at home. So we hope you enjoy it. So today we discussed cancel culture, Jared. I think for me, when I think of like recapping our episode, the one word that really comes to my mind is troll or trolling.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I think that's a big aspect of cancel culture. And that goes obviously hand in hand with social media, social media and trolling.
Because even the ones that are good, well-meaning, sometimes I'm like, I mean, you were never a fan of this person to begin with, So it's like, why are you going out of your way to do this? But then there's also the people where it's like, I hate also where it's like, someone feels like they're like someone like whether it's some sort of harassment of some sort,
right?
And like people get on people for like going after them and being like, well, why are you trying to ruin this person in the court of social media,
right?
When why didn't you file why didn't you it's like there's no way to solve this,
right? Yeah, you can't.
A lot of the time. So it's like if people feel like they've been wronged and they have nowhere else to go, I'm not gonna. So what I'm talking
also you can't go to jail for a tweet, at least not in the U.S.
So I'm kind of talking about Chris D'Elia, to be honest with you, where it's like I can't blame these people that feel like they've been wronged.
Sure.
And it's like, what are you gonna tell them to go to the police? It's like I'm not even trying. Like it doesn't have to go to that,
right?
But you can still. And the thing is,
even if it did, what could the police do? You send some emails.
Yeah, exactly. They can't prove. Like it's kind of hard to prove. And also, no one's like, do they want to go to the
right? Yeah.
And then also, it's like, I think it does help to. There is something to like putting out to people's faces, like, well, this is who the person really is, even though they didn't break the law. Right. I think it's useful for you, like, all right, just so this is who you're a fan of.
I will say this. I've actually gone back and watched a couple of Chris D'Elia's comedy sketches. I have a different perspective on him as a comedian, regardless if it was true or not, unfortunately.
Sure. Not to brag, but I've never watched any of his comedy.
Okay. Well, there you go. He has a very unique type of comedy style. So yeah, and it's just interesting, though, that when you kind of see either who someone truly is or who they are portrayed to be through social media or whatever, it definitely will change your view of them.
Yeah, well, the same thing happened with Louis C.K. too.
Right.
Because he had a lot of jokes about, a lot of his comedy is about kind of being sexually awkward.
Yep.
And, being awkward with women.
Right. And, which I'm sure he genuinely is. Doesn't surprise me one bit. Yeah. Yeah, crazy stuff. Yeah, well, let us know what you think about cancel culture. You can find us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. Also, feel free to send us an email. Let us know what you thought of today's episode, or if you have any untranslatables at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. Check out our YouTube channel, Untranslatable Podcast, for songs like Funktioniert nicht by Ragabund and tons of others, songs in different languages, various genres. So there's lots to enjoy there for sure. And lastly, please, 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. Let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So, as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, dziękujemy, muchas gracias, shisha, and do svidania. And please don't cancel our podcast. I don't think we've said too many egregious things here, Jared.
I'm not concerned.
Maybe a thing or two here and there. No,
I'm not concerned.